Corey Day is that guy. Tanner Thorson bounces back. Several big-name high-limit guys struggle. And yes, we'll talk about that fencing. Let's go. It's Wednesday, April 24th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTRACKR Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. So, wild night last night at Riverside, wouldn't you say? It's a shame that the track's safety equipment, or lack thereof, overshadowed everything, because even with the surface issues and the track having that water coming back up, I thought the feature was really good. We'll get to the racing, though, here in a minute. I've ranted plenty of times in the past on this show about safety and the need for things to get better, so I'm probably not going to go full soapbox today, maybe just a little soapbox. But clearly the fencing at Riverside is not effective at much of anything. You don't need to do any sort of major investigation to see that it's inadequate at best. A major sprint car series hadn't been to the ditch since the Outlaws were there in 2018, and maybe there was a reason that no major sprint car racing had been there in 6 years. And I don't think it's got anything to do with car support or lack of fans buying tickets. Looking back at that old Dirt Vision video, the wall around the track at Riverside is better than it was then, but clearly more needs to be done here if they're going to continue hosting big-time sprint car racing. Tim Crawley's early crash in the feature was our first warning sign about the fencing, as even his hit took out part of Turn 1's fencing. And then we got lucky that Brian Bell wasn't injured when he went through the fence in Turn 3. He did hit the light pole, which that's really bad, and I would not characterize his crash as a particularly hard one. He rode the wall in 3, and under no circumstances should that car have left the track area. It wasn't a big flip over the fence. It wasn't a high-speed collision that he went through the fence. It was just kind of a wall ride, and then the fence didn't do anything. The World of Outlaws have Riverside on their schedule for 2 nights coming up in October. Maybe we'll see if something is done before that happens. The Outlaws versus high limit stuff is obviously an undercurrent to all of this and what happened last night that I think can't be ignored. High limit is trying to create their own footprint and expand into some places maybe the Outlaws don't go too often. And we know there have been some lines in the sand drawn about particular parts of the country and particular racetracks. But as I've said plenty of times before, we need better from the tracks in the series here. And I think a key distinction needs to be made when it comes to safety and danger at these races. We need to keep drivers from harm. There's obviously no question about that. But I want the illusion of danger, not actual danger. But when we talk about the drivers, to some extent, the drivers know what they're signing up for, and they're somewhat equipped to handle what they're signing up for. They've got roll cages, they've got seat belts, they've got helmets, fire suits, all of the safety equipment that's been instituted. And as someone who used to do a dangerous job, I understand that part of it. You accept what can happen when you put the helmet on, and honestly, that's part of the appeal. I'm not going to sit here and say that I didn't enjoy having my head in the lion's mouth for 16 years. But where you lose me on the danger stuff is all of the people who didn't sign up for it. People like the fans and the track workers and the officials and all of that. And when you have cars leaving the ballpark like we had last night, like we saw the week before at Salina, the street stock deal at that racetrack in New Zealand, or that sprint car that nearly left the ballpark at Big Diamond last year, suddenly other people are now at risk. The guy who got off work last night in the Memphis area raced home and grabbed his wife and kids and headed to the track for some sprint car racing and his chance to see Kyle Larson, maybe the only time all year that he's going to get a chance to see that, and have some dirt in his cold adult beverage. Did not sign up to have a sprint car end up in his lap because of some poor fencing. That potential is what is unacceptable to me. I'm not going to hold my breath and expect anything to change, because that's not really how any of this works. We've obviously seen that plenty of times in the past. And we got lucky last night, right? There's no doubt about it. Nothing bad actually ended up happening. It was just a wild moment that's going to be all over the internet for 24 hours, and then everybody's going to forget about it. But I'd feel negligent if we didn't at least bring it up and talk about it. I don't want to see anyone get hurt, whether it's drivers or crew guys or fans or track workers. It doesn't matter. And just to be clear here, to drive one more point home, this isn't a shot at High Limit and their leadership or their decisions of specific people there. Remember that World Racing Group has the same exact track on their schedule. This safety problem is industry-wide. High Limit, Outlaws, Lucas, IMCA, USRA, PowerEye, racetracks from coast to coast, whoever. Everybody needs to do better here. As for the racing last night, like I said, it was pretty good. I want Riverside to figure this fence deal out, because I do want to see more sprint car races there. We had a great battle out front between Corey Day and Tanner Thorson and Tyler Courtney. Day ended up leading 27 laps and winning midweek race number 2. Day has now won 3 of the last 5 high limit shows and is clearly the driver we thought he was at the start of the season. While Sunshine continues to lead the overall championship, Day has seized control of the midweek title fight. Obviously, you're going to do that when you win 2 of 2 races. A second place run for Thorson was a massive bounce back for him after he missed the feature completely last week at Salina. Through the first 9 races, Thorson had just 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s. He said he thinks they found something after Salina though, so we'll see if this speed continues going forward. And it was not a good night for several other drivers, including Zeb Wise, Rico Abreu, Parker Price Miller, and Justin Peck, who all needed provisionals to start the feature, but none of them finished higher than Peck in 17th, who actually was the night's hard charger as well. And since winning the opener at East Bay, Kyle Larson has effectively been a non-factor in these high-limit shows. No laps led since then in 6 races and 3 finishes of 14th or worse. And that includes last night's 23rd place finish after he crashed out of that lead battle late. This midweek deal is his chance to win championships in sprint car racing, but he's 15th at the moment. He's 66 points behind Day. We talked yesterday as well about Sammy Swindell running last night, and his event was over really before it even got started. They had issues with the car, and the B-main was really the only laps they got all night. He ended up 15th in that. No surprise here as well. Your highest finishing local was DIRTRACKR. He picked up a top 10 last night. High Limit goes quiet now for about a week with their next race scheduled for Wednesday, May 1st. That is at the 81 Speedway. One quick note, I had a very nice YouTube super thanks comment from Kevin on yesterday's Daily Show. He said he and his 11-year-old son Miles were at Riverside last night for the High Limit Show and got to meet all of the drivers. It was Miles' first time at a sprint car race. Happy to hear it, Kevin. Hope you guys get more chances to hit up some dirt races in the future, and I appreciate you guys tuning into the show. If you want to hear some more dirt racing audio this week, Winged Nation has Anthony Macri and Austin McCarl. Dirt Track Confessions has USAC's Kirk Spridgen. Hoagie's Garage has Sean Quinn and Chase Johnson. Dunwich on Dirt has Brett Robinson. Plum Wild has Eddie Farnes. Getting Up to Speed has Kellen Chadwick. And there are new episodes of The Dirt Reporters from Dirt on Dirt, The Dirt Nerds, Quick Time, Dirt Tracks and Rib Racks, Turn 2 Terribles, Racing Roundup, and the Drivers Project podcast. To see all of these shows and their recent episodes, head over to DIRTRACKR.com/podcasts. That's it for the Daily Show today. Besides new podcast episodes, DIRTRACKR.com also has the streaming schedule and all of the latest dirt racing news, plus the analytics section. You can check out DIRTRACKR.com any time of the day. It works on your computer, on your phone, on your laptop, your iPad, whatever. You can just go to DIRTRACKR.com and find everything you guys need. I hope you guys have a great Wednesday out there. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.